Very well. Do what you do best. Take off your clothes.
In season 1, Dany's sexuality was central to her transformation from basically a piece of property into a full-fledged human being. I mean, with Drogo, the first thing that she took charge of was the only thing that was available to her at the time, which was her own body. And she came into her own as an adult, really, amongst the Dothraki, who are not shy about their bodies in any way. Dany's not really cut out to be a virgin queen. And Dario is a bad boy who seems like a good idea to her at this moment. And she takes her prerogatives as a powerful person, as powerful people sometimes do. He's made himself more than available. She didn't ever expect Jorah to find out. She loves Jorah in her own way. She makes it very clear to him that he's far more important to her and means far more to her than a person like Dario ever could, just not in the way that Jorah might like.
He's been in love with Dany from pretty much her wedding day. And now he sees this young upstart who just entered her life relatively recently come into his world and sweep her off her feet. I think he's both incredibly jealous and also a little bit angry at Dany that she would fall for a man who he considers so unworthy of her.
We met, you and I, many years ago.
I think I would have remembered that.
Unlikely, you had just been born.
Oberyn telling Tyrion the story about seeing him as a baby when he'd been told that he was a monster and he realized that he wasn't a monster, he was just a baby. I mean, there's a real tendency to demonize your enemies. He has empathy for Tyrion, and this is an implicit way of recognizing that Tyrion isn't a monster and he's a human being that has perhaps more in common with Oberyn than either of them would have thought. Oberyn owes Tyrion a great deal. Oberyn came to King's Landing to seek justice against those who had wronged him, and by demanding a trial by combat, Tyrion has given Oberyn a perfect opportunity to achieve what Oberyn set out to achieve, which is ticking one of the big names off of his list of people who need killing.
I will be your champion.
Littlefinger, as we know, was in love with Sansa's mother. From the time he was a little boy, he was in love with Catelyn. He sees in Sansa, it's almost like it's Catelyn reborn, but even more beautiful.
You're more beautiful than she ever was.
Lord Baelish.
Call me Peter.
You get the sense that he's wanted this for a long time, of this kiss, and he finally allows himself that pleasure and kind of shocks Sansa, and obviously was not aware that Lysa might be somewhere within eyeshot.
You don't understand.
I saw you! You can't lie to me because I saw it with my own eyes.
He kissed me. I pulled a
Liar! Whore! He is mine! My father, my husband, my sister, they all stood between us and now they're all dead. That's what happens to people who stand between Peter and me.
Well, something that becomes clear in the 5th episode that's reiterated here in this much more emotionally volatile scene is that Lysa and Littlefinger are actually the people who set the entire story in motion. The story we've been watching for, I guess, 37 hours at this point. They've arguably had more influence on the events in this world than any other two people in the story. Sansa probably doesn't quite catch this in the moment, of course, because Lysa is threatening to throw her through the moon door by her hair.
Lysa's batshit crazy. She's prone to these tantrums. This one is actually justified. She's just married this guy, and she's been suspicious about this beautiful young woman. Even though it's her niece, she's still suspicious about Sansa because anytime she sees her husband with a much younger, prettier girl, she's gonna get jealous. All of her paranoia is validated when she sees Littlefinger kissing her. The only one who's really ever been able to calm her down from these furies has been Littlefinger, and it's partly because, you know, she's been in love with him forever and they grew up together, and it's partly because he's really good. I mean, he's just a master manipulator. And so it plays out as if it's going to be another one of those times where no one else could have possibly taken her quite literally off the ledge there and saved Sansa, but he does it. And you kind of think like that's that's how it's going to end. And then there's that wonderful moment where he says,
I have only loved one woman. Only one. My entire life. Your sister.